Hello, good afternoon, good morning, and good evening. I'm so excited about today's interview. We have none other than Miss Johnny B. Lloyd from JB Lloyd and Associates. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, Dr. J. How are
Good
you?
morning, good evening, and hello, everybody. How are
We
you?
are
Doing wonderful, blessed.
wonderful. We are so excited because we are going to be interviewing you and talking about your new wonderful workbook that goes with your book, Legacy Moments.
Thank
Yay!
you, thank you. I am excited. I am blessed to have the workbook to go with it. I'm excited.
Yes, ma'am. I'm so excited, and I got a signed edition. Yes, excuse me. I have my own personal one that it is signed by the author. Yes, yes, yes. I have mine. And before we get it started, I want to tell the people first where they can get their copy from. Can you please tell us where they can get a copy from, Dr. J?
Absolutely. If you go out to my website at www.johnnyloyd.com, you will go out there and you will see the workbook as well as the book. Please keep in mind that the workbook is a companion to the book, so you need both. So yeah, that's where you go get it at.
Okay. Dr. J, I absolutely love this book, your workbook. And the first question in Module 1, what legacy have you received from former generations, whether it be emotional, spiritual, financial, physical, etc.? When you asked that question to me, I found myself going back, of course, talking about my parents and my grandparents. That made me stop and think, what were you thinking when you wrote that book, that question?
You know, the interesting thing is, all of us look at right now, we're doing 23andMe and we're doing all that. It's about the family tree, because in every family is some things that every person gets a taste of. For an example, and I'm going to use my mom as an example, because when I was younger, I used to think of my mom as a maid. I didn't think of her as a person who was an entrepreneur and had five very powerful families that she worked for. I looked at it as a negative instead of a positive. But when I look at my family tree and I look at everything, my grandfather owned 100 acres. My mother was a seamstress. She baked cakes. She had the business of cleaning. She had, taking care of kids. She was a serial entrepreneur. I didn't think about it like that. So my father, serial entrepreneur. So now the question is, why do I always start businesses? Why is that heavy for me? Because my parents. But the same thing happens when it's negative. So the reason for the question, going back and looking at former generations, is so you can identify key traits so you'll know your triggers. You'll know the things that are triggered in your generation, in your culture, in your bloodline. Because some people have, the song says, my father was a Rolling Stone. You know that song, Daddy was a Rolling Stone is a song. So we need to always know what those things are. Because some people have abuse, substance abuse. And maybe the substance isn't liquor. Maybe the substance now is drugs. The substance now may be working too hard, whatever the abusive tendency is. But knowing that allows people to then identify so that they can rectify. Allows them to look and say, this is my thing in the bloodline. So how do I look at this, become self-aware, and shift so that my legacy that I'm leaving for my children is different? In order to break spiritual things like this that are connected to our bloodline and our family tree, it has to be a disruption.
Wow.
There has to be a disruption. So it's for us to choose. We choose our next steps. We choose where we go. We make a choice. People want to say it's somebody else's fault and, my family's always done that. No. If you know your family always did that, now what do you choose? What are you praying for? What are you binding and loosening in your bloodline? From now forward, what are you cutting off and what are you decreeing and declaring?
Wow.
So that makes
That
a
is
difference.
awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That is so awesome. That is so, and I love the way you said, what are we binding and what are we loosening? And you said, what is it? What are we? You said serial entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I like, and you even talk about how she was with five powerful families.
Right. Because
That
one of the guys was president of and if you're not from Ohio, this may not make sense to people, but Owens, Illinois. So the plastic bottle that everybody has, I ended up working summer doing a research project, and we helped create this bottle, the plastic bottle. I did testing on it.
wow.
But because
That is
of who she worked for. So he opened up something in the company. When it was done, I had favor and ended up doing this. So we have to re-look at our family and look at what our, not that you're looking for a hand up, but be prepared to walk into that lane. Be prepared if, I always want my daughter to do better than I did. She should.
Right.
Her landing spot, where she's starting, is not where I started. It should always be elevated. It should always be, I should expect greater. And that doesn't mean the same. It just means different.
That is awesome. That's so, and I see now that makes sense why you're always starting businesses, and they're successful businesses.
Yeah, but I didn't understand. I said, something's wrong with me. Something's wrong. And it's not.
Wow. That is amazing. But then that makes sense why you're always investing in others.
Yeah.
So that makes absolute sense, and why you always starting businesses and they're successful and investing in others.
Mm-hmm. That's my desire, to help other people do their business too. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, in module 2, I love this. Change does not last forever. It only fixes the past or current problem. Transformation looks at the past and uses the renewed. Excuse me, I'm sorry. So when you broke that down, can you break that down just a little bit more? Because you break down change and you break down transformation. That to me was phenomenal within itself. Because we always say, when you get saved, you change forever. But you broke down change and you broke down transformation. I like that.
The Bible says, be ye transformed. Be ye changed. By the renewing of your mind. Let this mind be in you that was also in Christ Jesus, right? So that's a transformed mind. So transformation is this. Transformation is if you would look at a butterfly and see the metamorphosis that a butterfly goes through, that's in the book. So those two are, again, they're companion. So it talks about a metamorphosis. And a metamorphosis, once the butterfly goes to the next level, it can never go back. With us, we have the power of choice. So when we have true transformation, then we determine on a daily basis not to go back. It's a matter of our choice. We still have the power to do it, but change is like me taking off my jacket. I can put it back on. Changing my clothes. It's really easy. It's really easy, but nobody likes change or transformation. Transformation is a longer process. It's more in depth. It's a heart and a mind thing. Change is just surface. I can change my makeup. I can change my hair. I can put on, you know what I'm saying? Like changing my glasses. I can do that. It's easy. But transformation is totally different. And the benefit of transformation is you go from one perspective and you are replaced by another form. You form into something and you gain the benefit of this new thing that you are. Now, you still know what you used to be, but you don't want to go back to that. It's in your rearview mirror. And
My
if you
God.
truly embrace transformation, you know it's back there, because every now and then we check our rearview mirror to see what's behind us, but our real goal is in front of us, because
Okay.
it's hard to drive forward if you're looking back.
My God, that's good. And when you broke it down and you talked about the butterfly, not being able to go back into the cocoon, that right there, it explains it all. And I was just right there, right there.
Right.
And it's also
Even the beauty. Can I inject one more thing? Sometimes at some point in our lives, we want to change or transform our children, our spouse, people at our jobs. We want them to change. We go in and we talk about, if these people up in here would change. No.
Right.
When I change, everything changes. When I transform my life, everything is transformed. The way people treat me, everything. So everybody has a choice. I can't impact their process. And with a butterfly, if you help them out of the cocoon, they can fly. So they have to go through the pressure to build their wings. They have to go through that in order to have the strength that it takes to take them to the next level, to be that beautiful butterfly that all of us enjoy. It's the pressure.
My
which is
God.
with our season that we're in now, because we're in a crisis.
This, Dr. J, we're going to have to break this down. We're going to have to break this down because this is good. This is not just something that we can do and just, I believe, especially in where the country is right now, this is something that our country needs to not just chew and swallow, but chew and taste and smell and meditate on.
Absolutely.
And this is where we are in this season, that your book, this is something that we need right now. And I don't think that this is by happenstance that your workbook came out right at this particular time. Because while people are at home, this is something that I believe, this is just my personal belief now, that, because I'm gonna be honest with you, I couldn't get past the third module, and I had to go back to module 1.
Wow.
Because by the time you get to the affirmations, you have to go back to module 1 to make sure that you have everything correct. But it's not so much as the A, B, C, E, F, G correcting. You have to go back and say, you know what? Let me check myself. Let me go on, because you start getting, wanting to make sure you do I have my will in order? This is just me. This is just Tina Mae Grace. Do I have my will in order? Girl. What am I leaving? And what am I leaving for my children? Am I doing things? I'm not kidding, but am I doing things correct? Does that make sense?
I love that, because if I'm hearing you right, you're saying you're putting the responsibility for what you need to do on you. You're not looking at somebody else to do it. You're looking at, right now, during this time, all of us are stuck at home. You said that. All of us are stuck at home. Or should be. Yes, unless you're out for a reason. So we're stuck at home so that we can deal with this crisis in a proper way and expand it, right? So what can we do? What can we do? So somebody gave me something this morning that I have never used, but I'm going to start using it. They said, right now during this time, because if we're not careful, we'll get stuck in, we won't take the time to go through something for self-development. We won't invest in that because it's an investment. And it's not a huge investment. I mean, it's not about price. It's about, do you think you're worth the next level? Are you prepared? What are you preparing for right now so that when this is over, you just jump in and launch. Whatever it is, you can step off and you're running, you're not walking. You haven't been sitting down in place and watching YouTube and all this other stuff, because they have a lot of things for us to get distracted by. This is a disruption, and anytime there's a disruption or a crisis, it's time for us as an individual to make some choices to step up our game, to be better than we were. It's like this, you know, once you start squeezing the bottle, if the cap was off, whatever's in the bottle comes out.
Yes, ma'am.
That's what crisis does. That's what pressure does. And sometimes people have a cap on it and say, nope, I'm going to sit right here. And so no matter how I squeeze this bottle, nothing's coming out.
Yes,
and then you look at others and say, what happened? How did they get so much further ahead than me? It's because they were focused. They chose to do something with the time that was going to take them to another level. And that's what I'm saying. The wills, all of that. In some are culturally, a lot of, I used to think, let me talk about me. I used to think that if I did my will and I had a statement and everything, if something happened and medical, all of that, had all that done, that means I'm gonna die. I'm expecting to die. I'm not expecting to die. I mean, all of us are gonna die, but that's not what. What am I doing to prepare so that I can get that out of my head? Making sure that my family is fine, and then going back to your first question is, and what legacy am I living? What am I doing right now? Am I taking some time with my children and pouring into them? Because they're at home with me now, right?
Yes, ma'am.
What am I doing? You can't blame it on the school. What are we doing as parents? And yes, and I was telling somebody, I think I put it on a video or something yesterday. I said, sometimes you have to put yourself on the timeout. So sometimes you have to take, as a parent, you have to say, hey guys, I'm going to timeout. Y'all don't have to go. I'm going to timeout because I need some time by myself. Because in your head, you're saying, I'm about to blow up. I'm sick of all these people, whatever. And that's understandable, because suddenly you're in this confined with people and you can't do what you used to do. But if we take this opportunity, oh my gosh, and invest in ourselves and step it up, girl, limitless possibilities.
And you're absolutely correct. And in these, as we prepare to wrap this up, I'm going to ask you, I'm just going to ask you straight off the bat, if you can come back and so we can dive our hands into this, because I just personally believe, I know I found myself crying because I just came out of a major crisis, and knowing that I had to make sure that some things was in order. And I know that I know one of the things that God allowed me to hear when I was in the hospital was, I need to get some major things in order. Wow. I thought I had some stuff in order, but I know that your book helped me when I was in the hospital. There were some things that I know that I had to make sure that things were in order. But this book just confirms, I mean, the affirmations that I had to do. And a lot of people are like, affirmations? They have no idea. The back of this book has affirmations. And I'm not going to show them to people because I want them to get your book. I need them
you
to
are so sweet. See, and I put the affirmations in there so that, because I want people, I mean, it's good that they get the book. I'm not mad. However, I also want people to understand the power of an affirmation.
Oh my God.
Affirmations are something that, okay, when Jesus went into the water, because this is a faith-based, if you look at it from a faith perspective, when Jesus entered water and he came out, number one, it was in obedience, right? So when he came out, God pronounced who he was. He said, this is my son who I'm well pleased. So after God affirmed him, everything in his life started unfolding, right? So affirmations are our daily mental wash
Wow.
affirm who God says I am, even if I don't see it. Because right now, some people may be saying they're poor, and they may put the I am statement in front of it. So at the end of that, when they are poorer, then they say, well, what happened? You confirmed it. So
Yes.
what are you
Right.
affirming in your life? What are you saying with your lips? Because and affirmations need to be, as the book will talk about, is first person, and it tells you what an affirmation is and the power of an affirmation. So we need to go back to the basics.
Oh my gosh. I mean, and if people only knew what they were saying, my children, they have learned the power of affirmation and confirmation. They before they would come into the hospital, my nurses, and this is real quick because I know we're down almost to our last 2 minutes. My nurses knew when they walked into my room, and Dr. J, I know that you came and you visited me, and I'm so grateful to God that I have you as one of my mentors, and I want to publicly thank you
We
for
love
coming.
you.
And, I appreciate you so very much. Thank you, thank you. Um, when you came to the hospital, you saw how the nurses and the caretakers were there at the hospital. My nurses, one of the things that I had strictly was if you could not say anything positive, don't say anything at all. That's one of the things that I stress to everybody from my doctors on down. And one of the things that my husband and so many other people didn't understand was the CEO of the hospital came to visit me like 5 times. And he would come in, hey, Miss Tina. I would go, hey, sir, how you doing, Mr. Phillip? How you doing, Miss Tina? I'm doing good, Mr. Phillip. And he says, I am strong. And then I would say, I am healthy.
Wow.
Now, if I can get the CEO of the hospital who could come in there and he would say, I am strong. But whatever he was going through, it was not my business what he was going through. He came to my room. Why he chose me out of all the patients in that hospital at that particular time, he would come in and say, I am strong. I don't know what he was going through.
My God.
But he would come in and say, and here, I don't even know if you realize that your book was right there on top of my other books that I had in my room. But I had your book right there, and I had to read those affirmations, and that CEO would say, I am strong. My nurses would come in, and they would say, hey, Miss Tina, I know you're beautiful, but I mean, not being able to take a bath, but I had to say, I smell good. But I had to put the I am in front of everything that I said. But then I had to remember that no matter what, that I was going to make it.
Right.
And I contribute that to what you taught me in this book.
Wow.
And that's from someone who they have pronounced to be almost dead 3 times.
Girl, look at God.
And that's just from February 5th, 2020. That's this year. And you was at the hospital. You came to the hospital. So I would tell anybody, please, if you ever want to make an investment in a book, please, 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 I would ask you if you invest in any book.
And get the workbook. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm learning to invest in myself. This is a book. I have my little tab because I wanted to end on this note.
Okay.
I am successful in everything I do. My mind. I am making great decisions and I have great ideas that I can impact nations, my mind. Now, for anybody who knows me, know vision to reality has been an idea in my mind for over 20 years. And I'm sitting in my chair with one of my mentors. If I can do it, so can you.
Absolutely.
I want to tell I call her Dr. J. She is not a doctor. I've given her an honorary doctorate degree. But I want to tell her thank you publicly for writing this book. This is an affirmation book. Get it, invest in it. Dr. J, can you tell us again where we can find your book?
The book and the workbook is at www.johnnylloyd.com. And thank you for having me on. It's such a blessing, and you know I love you.
We thank you so very much for investing your time in us. Thank you. You've been watching me. My name is Tina McGrace, and you've been here on Vision to Reality. Thank you, thank you, thank you. May God be with you. And you've been watching Vision to Reality. God bless.